Greetings and welcome to ParaNerd Talk. It's the paranormal discussion program where the topics are voted on by you and our friends at facebook.com/Capture Paranormal. We got myself, Jay, we got Bryce, we got Mike. Hi. And the topic for this episode is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. It's alternate dimensions. So Twilight Zone in there or what?
Yes, which will segue into our next topic.
Yeah. I'm excited about this one. It's one that was brought to us by a fan, actually.
Yeah.
It was thrown up on the polls and it won.
Yeah.
I was kind of excited about that. So alternate dimensions, like the idea is we're living in sort of a multiverse, and
yes,
there's many of you, many of me, many of Mike, and
yes,
all doing different things at different times, and sometimes they can bump, I guess, and
yes,
cause a stir. And what do you know about alternate dimensions? Let's just start.
What do I know about alternate dimensions? It's been another one of my little pet research projects that I really enjoy.
Perfect.
Digging into.
Now's your chance to.
Now's my chance to bore people. A few of the interesting concepts I came across with it was one of them was there was this physicist by the name of Hugh Everett, and he came up with a Hugh Everett many-world theory. And Hugh Everett's many-world theory is it states where every choice that we make branches off into alternate universes, essentially.
Right.
I had the choice to wear my lovely shirt that I'm wearing today, or another lovely shirt.
Right.
And there's one universe where we're doing this talk where I'm wearing this shirt, and there's one universe where I'm wearing a different shirt.
Yeah.
And then there's branches and branches and branches, and those branches go throughout.
Billions upon billions upon billions of different...
It's actually an infinite number of probabilities and possibilities existing simultaneously.
Right. So
and
that's a lot to take in.
It is a huge amount to take in. And another one of his theories also is that each of these universes, like there's an infinite number of universes existing exactly as it is now, and then there's an infinite number, and that's just like mind-boggling. Like you can't have more than one infinity, but there is.
Right.
Where it's 1 millisecond before or 1 millisecond after, and so on and so on and so on.
Right.
So eventually you get to a point where there is a universe that exists as this place existed 50 years ago, existing right now alongside with it.
Right.
And it overlaps. And
that's the concept I had of when I think alternate dimensions and multiverses, whatever, it's we're parallel with it.
Yes.
And it's just different, minor differences on...
And we can only perceive the one that we're currently in, even though there are others that are overlapping with them.
Right.
And then there gets to be the theory about the soft spots, where things can happen and you actually see into these alternate dimensions.
Okay.
Is that where the idea of like a residual haunt
that might come into it? Yeah, there was one that really, really, really sticks out with me. Is I was watching Ghost Hunters, and there was the one episode that they were investigating. Was it the Stanley Hotel, I believe, or Mount Washington? One of those places, and the owner was the princess. She married into some nobility.
This is for real?
This is for real.
Okay.
This was on the episode, and she was named. They called her the princess. And Steve and Tango, I believe, were in the room, and Steve says, "Princess, are you here?" And the audio recording that they got after, the EVP that they got after, was her replying, "I'm here, where are you?" And the thought that struck me was, is it possible that she was in this alternate universe in a different time?
Right.
That she hears this disembodied voice.
Yeah.
"Princess, are you there?" And then she's like, "Well, yeah, I'm here. Where are you? Like, who's calling me?"
Yeah.
and then we picked up her response back. So that's where you get this It's not actually something haunted. It's the fact that there's two-way communication between these two different universes.
Yeah. Well, that's like Stranger Things or something.
Yeah.
Where there's the Upside Down world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where Will gets lost in the Upside Down, where he can be manipulating the lights and stuff in his mother's area, but she can't see him, type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other is there any other? We have the infinite kind of possibilities and infinite timelines, whatever.
Yes.
The only thing I've ever kind of known, I've learned everything I need. I've learned everything that I've kind of learned over the past years through basically comic books, DC and Marvel, and their multi-universe.
Their multi-universe.
Is it that kind of thing where you got Batman shoots people with a gun in this universe, but in this one he doesn't kill?
It is entirely possible that yes, you would have that. There could be universes where things are just so vastly different.
Right.
Where Hitler won World War II.
Right.
Where nuclear war happened and the planet is now just a desolate wasteland.
Apocalyptic wasteland.
Yes, like the TV movie or the TV series Sliders.
Sliders.
Do you remember that one?
No, I never saw that one.
That was
I
excellent.
remember that.
Yeah.
What year was that?
It was in the early 90s.
It was in the early 90s, and who was it? Was
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell, yes, and Jonathan Rhys Davies. And they had the concept was that they had this device, the slider, that they could open portals that would send them into other universes. But because there was an infinite number of universes, they wound up getting lost and trying to find their way back.
So, are there any accounts that you can relay, reading about or hearing about, that are essentially portals being found in our timeline that,
There are lots of interesting stories throughout the years that I've come across. Like there's, what was it? There was the Green Children, where there was these.
Yeah, they were blue.
Yeah, these two children were found and they didn't speak any known language. And then through some therapy and stuff like that, they were able to learn English, and they were talking about their land and where they were from, and it matched nothing geographically. And
so they're saying that they might have gotten lost and found one of these portals and ended up here.
Yeah, and that was their story, was that they went into a tree or something like that, and then they wound up on the other side of the tree, and everything was completely different. And then there was a story also of the man from Talman Shud or something like that, where this man shows up in an airport, and he's lost and confused and can't figure out what's going on. And he talks to security about what's going on. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on here. Everything just seems so strange and foreign to me. And they check his passport, and it comes from Talman Shud. And
the frick's that?
Exactly. And he's like, well, it's this principality and near these two countries. And they're like, where are those? Oh, that's by these countries. And it's like, no, those countries border each other.
Right.
Like there's nothing in between them. And
so this guy potentially either hit a portal, or there was some type of dimension bump that he ended up here, and
and then they held him for questioning, and they put him in a room, and then they went and checked, and he was gone.
Right.
It's like nobody understood what the heck happened there. Now I know you've got the one that you want to bring up about is that.
Well, I think I want to actually. I was just thinking about this now. Is time travel?
Yep.
Is that do you think that could be connected to?
I think it is.
Yeah, you think it is? Why do you think it is, Mike?
I've seen some interesting stuff on the internet and just research about it.
Yeah.
There's that famous YouTube video of the Mike Tyson fight where somebody's holding an iPhone.
Oh yeah.
In the background, in the crowd. There's just a lot of famous pictures that, whether or not they're real.
The problem I have with
is that would you consider that a time traveler hopping between timelines, or is it like, are they going back and forth? Are they going side to side? Or are they going back in time or forward in time? Say like the guy at the Mike Tyson fight. Is he going back in time from where our lineage to see the fight, right? Or is it he's from another timeline and he's bumping over to and just happened to be there at that time?
The problem I have with time travel like that, like somebody from the future, like us having one line of time and somebody from the future comes back to today or whatever, is first of all, there's that whole grandfather paradox theory,
Which
is I travel back in time to when my grandfather was 16, 17 years old,
okay,
and I kill him.
right? Oh, okay.
So now he can't father my father,
Yeah.
and since my
He
father
can't
isn't
father
father,
you.
he can't father me, and since I wasn't born, I couldn't travel back in time to shoot him. So I don't exist.
Right.
So if I don't
It's
exist,
really complicated.
that's the whole grandfather paradox. And then I was having a conversation with this about another friend of mine. Was even though you may say, okay, we've developed time travel, we can travel back in time, but you can't interact with the past. You know, it's illegal to interact with the past.
The whole kill the butterfly.
Exactly, the whole butterfly effect. You know, you're not allowed to. It's possible to, because just the way time travel works, it's possible to kill your grandfather.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to. You'll get in trouble
Right.
if you do that, because it'll just cause paradox. Blah blah blah. Problem is, in the year, like we developed this in the year 2500. In the year 3000, somebody's going to make an iPhone app that anybody can download and just time travel back to whenever they want.
Right.
And then they can pick up Tyrannosaurus Rex and drop it in the middle of Times Square.
Right.
Since that's never happened,
Yeah.
you can say...
Okay, so do you believe, like, excuse me, do you believe they're hopping side to side?
That's where the Hugh Everett theory comes in.
Okay.
Is instead of traveling back in time, like you know, if I travel back in time, I'm not actually traveling back in time. I'm traveling into another universe that exists when my grandfather was 16 years old. I shoot him.
But
now
that doesn't
this
affect your timeline.
It doesn't affect my timeline. I still continue to exist. I'm just now existing in a universe where my grandfather is dead.
Right.
So there's that possibility, and there's a possibility that, like this Mike Tyson video with the iPhone, that it's a side traveler, somebody who stepped across.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would believe more the side travel than I would to kind of the Back to the Future thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, sorry, go ahead.
But the other problem is, again, you get back to that phone problem where if you create a phone app, then you can do anything.
Exactly, yeah.
We have today.
Well, you YouTube time travel, you get tons, like even that old who was it? The movie where the lady is apparently talking on a cell phone.
Yes.
The name's just
it was a Charlie Chaplin
Charlie
movie.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Where one of his films where you see a woman and it looks like she's moving. People have said it's they used to have like a horn that would help people hear better. It's that or things like that to kind of debunk it.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of videos like that out there.
The other problem with videos today is
Manipulation.
there is an app out there called Deepfake.
Oh, really?
That you can take any video and superimpose that onto another. So you can take like a video of Barack Obama saying something,
okay,
and put if you're like a talented impressionist and you can sound like Barack Obama, you record yourself saying things and this app will make it look like Barack Obama is actually saying these things.
Right.
I saw one that
You told me
Yes.
about one where, is it George Bush or Bill Clinton or something?
No, it was actually Barack Obama,
Yeah.
where he said something and he was like, F this and drop the mic.
Oh, okay. I thought, yeah.
I actually just saw one recently on the alien subreddit on Reddit, where there was somebody who posted videos of this triangular object appearing over the Pentagon. And then a couple of days later, they said, here's this found footage, here's this leaked footage from the UN Security Council. And they're discussing it. And they show this video, and it's very convincing. It's the UN.
Yeah.
And the woman goes up and she introduces this other woman. I forget her name exactly, but apparently she's the CEO of this company that wants to build a space base, like a space city.
Yeah.
She is an actual legitimate person. And she was talking about, in this video, she's talking about how we've made contact with this alien species and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you're like,
This is legit.
This is legit. But then you start doing research. It's like, no, they took a video of an actual security meeting.
Yeah.
And they just used deep fake to add.
So does it like dub their lips and stuff?
Yeah.
Too? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so you run into that problem with these time travel videos that now I can take a video of some historical event and I can drop in some guy with whatever device I want.
Yeah.
And make it look legitimate.
Right.
So yeah.
One other thing I was thinking of, since you brought up UFOs and that kind of thing, I've heard the theory before, and I've read about it, that UFOs are not actually alien species. They're actually time travelers, or they're actually dimension jumpers.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's true, or?
It's definitely a possibility.
Oh yeah, we don't really.
Anything's a possibility.
Yeah, anything's possible.
But
I think it's a interesting theory.
That's one of the theories that I've heard also, is that they are us from like a million or so years in the future.
Yeah.
And they've come back here. I don't know for what gain. Maybe it's paleoarchaeology. See where the species, like, I suppose if we had the ability to go back and see Neanderthal man doing Neanderthal man thing,
Right.
It'd be cool. Like, hey, let's watch what Neanderthal man does, because it's part of our history. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always wondered about that too. I've read about a long time ago. I read about that, and I thought it is possible that it's just dimension jumpers.
Isn't that? Didn't Whitley Strieber's Communion books deal with that a bit? I think.
Zero idea.
I have no idea either.
Whitley Strieber is an author. He wrote a number of books about.
Actually, I do know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he had these personal experiences. He had these encounters with aliens, and he wrote books about them. All I remember is it was the movie.
He was on like Art Bell's show a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember there was a movie in the 80s with Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely terrible. But it's Christopher Walken, so these aliens are.
So the one other thing that's actually pretty big right now, and that I think relates to, dimensions, multiverses, time travel. No, not so much time travel, but is the Mandela Effect. So the idea being, when was it that Nelson Mandela supposedly died in 93, something like that? Or
no, earlier than that.
Earlier, maybe late 80s or something?
Yeah, that's what they say. But.
Right, and then supposedly he died again in 2013 or whenever it was, and people are like, wait a minute, Nelson Mandela died 10, 15 years ago, what's going on here? And then these people start researching, and then kind of figure out that these things that you thought were true when you were a child or growing up, they're not the same anymore. Just like Mike, the Oscar Mayer theme song. Mm-hmm. The my Oscar Mayer has a first name.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not singing. You don't want me to sing.
OSCAR.
OAS, or
but Oscar Mayer has a second name.
Yeah.
It's MEYER.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not. It's MAYER.
Oh.
Things like that. You remember this as a child and things like that, and you when you look back on it, you found out everything's completely different.
Yeah.
You're a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
The whole
No,
Luke,
it says Luke, I am your father. I know for a fact it says no, I am your father.
Yes, it does say no when you look back on it, but when you were people claim, and there's there's plenty of toy line out there that has a toy that has on it Luke, I am your father, and everybody remembers Luke, I am your father, but then you watch it back and you see it's no, I am your father.
Even with Nelson Mandela, that whole thing was started by a medium who wanted to sell books. And the whole Mandela Effect. The human memory is fallible. And the thing with human memory is we can shape our memories of our past. And we can misremember things, and we can be certain that what we're remembering, even though it's incorrect, is the truth for us. I took politics class in, I graduated, so it would have been about 1990, maybe 1989, late 1989, early 1990, during the whole destabilization of the Soviet Union. And it was a very interesting class to take. And I remember the teacher talking about, he said, like the year before, when things were just starting to crumble, he was telling the class, okay, while Hungary fell, there's no way that Romania is going to fall. While Romania fell, there's no way that Czechoslovakia is going to fall. Well, Czechoslovakia fall, and then he said, eventually I give up.
Right.
The whole Eastern Bloc is done. Everything's going to collapse over the Eastern Bloc, and it did. And he said, I will never say that apartheid won't come to an end in South Africa, even though at that time it was still strongly rooted. And sure enough, that year, Nelson Mandela was released from prison. And I remember, because he brought in the video of Nelson Mandela being released from prison in 1990.
Okay.
So I know for a fact that he was alive.
So why is it this whole global thing where people remember funeral service and everything like that?
It's easy to misremember something, and then it's easy to convince people that they misremember it as well.
It's like the Berenstain Bears. It's not the Berenstain Bears.
No, it's always been Berenstain Bears.
What about life was like a box of chocolates?
It always. If you watch the movie, Tom Hanks slurs that line, and he says, "Life is like a box of chocolates."
Yeah.
When he was actually saying life was like a box of chocolates, but he kind of slurs it, and Tom Hanks even misremembers that line that he said.
Right.
And it's the same thing with James Earl Jones. Misremembers because everybody told him, you said, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
So that's what his brain eventually conditioned is, okay, that's what I said in that line.
Right.
But what he actually said is, no, I am your father.
Right. So, okay, so like this Mandela Effect thing has just gone crazy.
It is.
Where I've seen videos now of people claiming that their husband or their wife is not really their husband or their wife. That they're not the same people they were yesterday.
Yeah.
Now,
mass hysteria.
So all this globalization of this whole Mandela Effect thing is just purely people's misinformation and misremembering.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I remember everything. Whenever they talk about, I read about the Mandela Effect, I'm like, I always remember it as Berenstain Bears. I don't ever remember it as Berenstain Bears.
Well, you spell Oscar Mayer wrong, so I don't believe anything you say.
Yeah. That's because I know people with the name spelled Meier.
Right.
So and it's the same thing with Berenstein and Berenstain.
Yeah.
Is the suffix for a last name of Steen is more common than the suffix of a last name of Stain.
Yeah.
So you're going to think Berenstein because you're thinking that that's the most common.
Right.
When
Shaq was in Shazam.
Yes, Shaq was in Shazam.
Wait, was it Kazam? Kazam, one of them.
Yes.
Which one?
Kazam. It was Shaq and Kazam. Sinbad never made.
Sinbad.
Never made.
That's right. That's the other one that I.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was never in that. There was never a movie.
People claim to have the VHS copy of this movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I've only heard this. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've seen videos and it's like, well, yeah, I can print up a VHS cover myself.
They're not that difficult to reproduce.
Exactly.
Do you think that it is possible that the timelines can kind of, have a little blip where
I do think that there are interesting cases throughout history and there are weird things that have happened. I don't think that it's as rampant as people like to believe it is. Yeah.
Well, it is fun, Googling and YouTubing Mandela Effect and things like that. You get down into the rabbit hole there, and it's just, you're lost for hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just wind up shaking my head through most of them. It's like, like there was the one where it says, well, the Bible passage says. It's
another one I read.
The lion lays down with the lamb.
Yeah, and that's the wolf or something.
Yeah, but no, it's the lion shall live with the lamb, and it's always been the lion shall live with the lamb.
Well, I heard one too about apparently the word stuff is now in the Bible. The actual word stuff is in the Bible, and but something like that, it's been revised.
That's the other problem too, is that the Bible has been it was written in Aramaic and then translated into ancient Greek and then translated into Hebrew and then translated into ancient Latin and then translated into Old English and then translated into modern English. So there's so many.
You might have a word or two wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. There's so many paths and translations and it's all like the popes that would have had the translations would have told the monks, no, this is the way that I want this.
Yeah.
This is the word that I want in there.
Right.
The King James Bible talks about unicorns, where the Duo Reims, which is based off the Latin Vulgate, it's the direct translation from modern English from Latin Vulgate, which was the last translation before going into the Old English and stuff like that. There is no mention anywhere in the original Latin Vulgate of unicorns. It was rhinoceros.
Oh, okay.
But King James liked the idea of unicorns, so
who doesn't?
Exactly. So rhinoceros got translated as unicorn. So
cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Alternate dimensions. I think we covered a vast ground of that topic here.
Like I said, it's one of my passions next to shadow people. So.
Yeah, there you go. Worked out for you. The voting worked, right?
Yep.
Maybe it was just you on there voting like 1,000 times.
Yes.
Cats out of the bag.
Cats out of the bag. Well, covered alternate dimensions.
Yep.
Next week's episode is going to be the Paranormal TV and Movies sequel.
Yes.
Part 2. The Paranormal TV and Movies.
We had lots of fun with it the last time, and our
audience. We got lots to talk about on this one too. This next episode. So thanks for joining us. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and whether you're listening on the Capture Paranormal podcast or on at youtube.com/Capture Paranormal, we want to thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us next time. Check out all the archives we have backlogged, all the episodes that we have up on there. Share and head over to patreon.com/Capture Paranormal. And if you want to donate to the team, shoot us some cash. We'll get you some exclusive videos and exclusive pictures and investigation updates, things like that. Other than that, check out the next episode, Paranormal TV and Movies, and we'll see you next time.